Appendix carry, you either love it or you think it's insane. And I'm going to share with you my journey when it comes to appendix carry and why I decide to use it every single day, despite having an accidental discharge over 20 years ago. Now, the story is a bit embarrassing to talk about simply because in my early 20s, I was in law enforcement. And when I had the accidental discharge, I was cleaning my, now it was after I was done cleaning it. But when I was about to put the magazine back in, I decided to put a round in the chamber. And when doing a function check, the round went off after pulling the trigger and it went through my desk and into the wall next to me. Now, as a law enforcement officer, you should be held to a higher standard. And for me, it was embarrassing. The fact that that happened and that I made a mistake at that level really impacted me and impacted my confidence. Now, it didn't affect me on my job, but I was second guessing whenever I had to unholster. It was something that I thought about. And eventually when I left law enforcement, went into a completely different field, I didn't feel it was necessary for me to even own anymore. So I ended up selling it to a colleague of mine and haven't had any in the house in and around me, haven't fired them for over 20 years. Now, given the fact that the world we live in is the world that we live in, self-defense and protecting my family was a priority. So I needed to make sure that I knew how to operate again, up my training on operating, and I wanted to make sure that they were accessible, as well as teaching my family, my wife specifically, on how to operate one as well in order to make sure that we have that option for self-defense. Now that I have a couple in the house and I decided to carry concealed, you have a few decisions to make. You can decide if you want to carry off body, you can carry outside the waistband, inside the waistband. But I decided that carrying inside the waistband appendix was the right choice for me. Now, I didn't take this lightly, especially after having an accidental discharge, but I decided to go appendix, and I wanted to make sure that when I made that decision that things were safe. Now, the two things that I think are very, very important when deciding, no matter what direction you're going to go, is mindset in carrying and having the confidence to do so, but also the equipment. Now, I don't claim to be an expert, but I will tell you that holsters is one of the most important things that you need to take your time in purchasing and researching. Now, if you're like me, and you've probably seen on other videos, you probably end up having a box of holsters that don't work. What I would advise against is just simply pulling one off the wall or the rack at your local shop, because you want to go with one that is custom to your. I ended up going with a Works holster, WERKZS, but simply I did that because one, they're highly rated. They're well known in the holster community, but also they were the only ones at the time that custom made for a Canik MC9 Prime. Now, the biggest thing that you need to look for is that it's Kydex. That the trigger guard completely covers the trigger area on the clip systems. Claw and wedge are simply just to help conceal it a little bit better. Clip obviously helps keep it secure on hopefully a good belt that you're using. But the reason why I decided that appendix was going to be safe and I built the confidence in doing that is the fact that with a good holster and with good equipment, this right here will not go off if it is secure in the holster. And that's why having good equipment and having confidence in your equipment is absolutely critical. This is a safe tool when it's inside here. And the way that I operate is keeping it in the holster when taking it off my belt. It is mainly in the holster at all times. It's another layer of security and safety in addition to how these tools operate and their inner workings. But because of the fact that when it is on me and it's in the holster, I have the confidence that it will not go off. A lot of the times that accidental discharges and negligent discharges occur is when it's being holstered or unholstered. Now, the fact that my accidental discharge was when it was out of the holster and I made a stupid decision to miss a step before checking the function and pulling that trigger to clear and reload that was the reason why it went off. It was a handling issue and it was my fault. It wasn't the equipment. So choosing the piece of the equipment is going to help with the confidence no matter what position you decide to carry. For me, appendix is simply the reason or the decision that I made because of its location, the retention, and that I can feel it and I know where it's at. It's in front of me and I have that view or that perspective of where it's at. It's a personal decision. It wasn't easy. I didn't take it lightly to make the decision to go appendix, but I will share with you the way that I built that confidence is that I walked around with it for a few days without one in the chamber, ironically, and was able to understand that when it's in the holster and through my normal day-to-day movements and activities, that the trigger was not going to be engaged. So I share that with you. You'll see a bunch of things online on different ways that if you don't have one in the chamber, you are the worst person ever. Don't let that dissuade you. It comes down to the confidence in how you carry and what you need to do to build that level of confidence. Make the decision for yourself, choose the best equipment, build that confidence, and you will be perfectly fine. If you have any questions, happy to reach out, happy to dive in further on my story. Leave a comment, and as always, stay safe out there, and I appreciate you for watching.